Hello and welcome to the latest of our Platform Insight interview series. In the run-up to our Vienna event, which looks at Central and Eastern Europe, I am delighted to be able to hold interviews on a country-by-country basis for those regions that are experiencing the largest amounts of growth across Central and Eastern Europe. And today it is Romania. I'm delighted to be joined by Cosmin Georgescu, Mihai Manole and Liviu Manole, all of whom are Romanian and all of whom have huge insights into the market there. So thank you all for joining me. If you wouldn't mind giving a little brief outline of your job titles, your roles, your companies, and what it is you do within the market, just to set the rest of the conversation in context for our viewers. So I'll start looking at the top part of my screen with Mihai.
Hello, Nicola. Thank you for inviting us. So my name is Mihai Manole and I represent Tema Energy. We are a Romanian company that designs and builds data centers, data center infrastructure, the so-called physical infrastructures for the digital world. We design and build all sorts of data centers from mobile and modular and edge to next generation AI and hyperscale data centers, and we are the proud designer and builder of the cluster power data center infrastructure, among others.
Fantastic, thank you. So moving along to my left, Cosmin.
Yes, Nicola, thank you for inviting us. Cosmin Georgescu, CEO and founder Cluster Power. My experience is related to building data centers for Microsoft, for Amazon, and large energy infrastructures like nuclear power plant for Romania, first wind farm, first photovoltaic plant, first gas to power plant, other energy projects. We are running and operating one of the largest data centers in the region. It's an NVIDIA-based data center with very much focus for artificial intelligence, high-performance computing, and very glad to be in the call.
Fantastic, thank you. And last but most certainly not least, Liviu.
Thank you, Nicola, for inviting me. I'm Liviu Manole. I'm a business professional with over 15 years of experience in business development, primarily focused on Romania and Central and Eastern Europe region. In 2024, I relocated to the United Kingdom to support initiatives aimed at strengthening economic cooperation between the United Kingdom and Central and Eastern Europe, Romania specifically. Initially, I operated as an independent consultant. In November 2025, I was appointed as a representative of the Bucharest Chamber of Commerce and Industry, marking a shift toward a more strategic and official approach. It was for me the chance to do something more for the business environment in Romania and take a step forward in my career. Thank you again for inviting me along this gentleman.
It's fantastic to have you all involved. And Romania is a really exciting marketplace. It's a bit frustrating sometimes, and we do this ourselves at Platform Markets Group, is we tend to look at, we look at a regional perspective, Central and Eastern Europe, which of course, is a collection of very, very different countries, all at very, very different stages in terms of digital infrastructure and data center rollout. Romania is one of the maturer markets across the region, but also one of the markets that is getting the attention of investors and operators from within Romania, but also a lot further outside with US, from UK companies and the investment. I think one of the figures I looked at this morning is that it's expected to be worth around $800 million by 2035, which I think is on the low side, but that was an average of things there. So what is driving the current interest and these growth figures across Romania at the moment from your opinions? And again, I'll start at the top with Mihai.
So I would say, Nicola, that the 800 million figure is quite a pessimistic one. In terms of, let's say, statistics, we have around 55, 60 data centers, independent data centers in Romania, but most of them are indeed quite small, say from a couple of hundreds of kilowatts to 3-4 megawatts. So it's quite a small, young market. It's a frontier market on the other hand, and I think this is maybe a good chance for Romania to grow significantly on on the regional map, because we do connect somewhat Europe to Asia. We have some good interconnections passing through Romania. We have a very good opening to the Black Sea. And we are significantly bigger, better developed in terms of public and private cloud and infrastructure and digital infrastructure as compared to countries like Serbia, Hungary, Bulgaria, Ukraine, but significantly smaller compared to countries like Austria or Poland or Czech Republic. We are not yet an emerging market, but I think we will be there in 4 or 5 years' time. This is my expectation.
I think so too. Cosmin, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think that Romania is recognized in Europe and globally as very smart and skilled people. So we love to build anywhere in Europe, especially in Romania. We have a very good ICT graduates. So the human capital here in Romania, it's very important. Many of large global corporations sits in Romania with thousands of employees. I can name Oracle, Honeywell, Siemens, many others here that have large offices. The cost of capital is still very attractive for Romania. We have a very well balanced energy mix with on top of sector of renewables, photovoltaic, but wind as well, as Mihai mentioned, the Black Sea that it's to the border of Romania. Very interesting as well tax-wise, 16% flat corporate tax rate. As well, I believe that for the EU funding, Romania sits in the top position when looking to attract, again, EU money. Very, let's say, a market with potential, with huge potential in ramping up and offering these few advantages I named.
Fantastic. And Liviu, from your perspective, and obviously you sit within the UK and Romania, so you see things from the external perspective as well as the internal.
Yeah, it's kind of difficult to add more to what my colleagues already said, but I would insist on the fact that despite the economic challenges that Romania is facing at the moment, we still have some important advantages. The energy, as pointed out already, energy sector, Romania benefits from a diversified spectrum of energy sources, and renewable energy, which is very pricey, is currently a hot topic with increasing capacity and numerous projects in development. This growth in renewable enhances the country's appeal by ensuring reliability and sustainability for future investments. Also, energy prices are expected to stabilize in the near to medium term because of these investments, and this will provide a more predictable environment for investors. I would point out also to the cost competitiveness, as Romania maintains a competitive advantage in capex costs, which from my research is typically about 15 to 20% lower than those in Western Europe. And it's very important to have in mind that Romania is a member of NATO and the European Union. So this offers a secure investment opportunities and long-term stability.
Do you know?
And a member of OECD soon. Sorry,
carry on, Mihai.
And soon will be a member of the OECD. I wanted to add.
Which all helps for it's that confidence, isn't it? And it's minimising that risk when investors are coming in. I speak to investors a lot, both those from the US, from the UK, country by country investors, and there's a huge amount of interest at the moment outside of the typical emerged markets and tier one cities from the investment community. One, because obviously everything has stalled in many, many cities that have seen huge growth over the years because of that energy piece. Do you think that from the investment perspective, there's unrealistic expectations sometimes in terms of that energy piece when they're looking at markets like Romania or other of the more developed countries across Central and Eastern Europe? Or is that something that is one of the primarily strengths for particularly institutional external investors coming into Romania?
You know how the industry was called land and power. Obviously, these basic game rules are still applying. Again, we are blessed from God having one of the largest rivers of Europe, Danube, that goes in Black Sea in Romania. So a lot of renewable power here. To Liviu point, expected prices to be stabilized once all the producers are reaching their targets in terms of renewables. We can see already a PPA market where you could reach very competitive pricing when looking to your expansion. I do believe that the investors are looking very closely to this advantage. More than that, if we are looking to the market shift, especially in our segment of the industry, which is not general data center, but particular an NVIDIA data center, this is very much related to power. The amount of power that these new types of machines are requiring sits a lot in the dimension of energy. Having energy would be one of the things you need to deploy such capacities.
I would also say that indeed the energy price is extremely important when choosing a position for a new data center, especially hundreds of megawatts one. And from that point of view, Romania is not in a great place right now. I mean, we are on the top 5 markets in terms of highest price in Europe right now in the spot market. But on the other hand, like as Cosmin mentioned, on a PPA market, the prices tend to be quite competitive and quite comparable to more mature markets like Spain or France or Germany or whatever. And on the other hand, I would say, and there is, and I'm not exaggerating with anything, that we have one of the best energy mixes in Europe by far. I mean, we already have about 30% in hydropower, about 25-30% in renewable energies like wind and solar. There's a lot of battery storage being installed right now in Romania, many schemes, financing schemes and EU funds for that. And so we all expect that in 1 or 2 years' time, once the grid is also well refurbished, reconstructed, to have a much more competitive landscape in terms of energy prices and energy availability, especially for the fact that we also have a significant portion of nuclear already in Romania, and this portion will grow in the following years.
Do you know, and it is, I mean, cost is obviously a huge factor when people are looking at these markets, and particularly if we're looking at setting up a particular country as a regional hub, not just for local demand. But it is also about that reliability of energy, particularly with what's been going on geopolitically over the last 4 weeks. It's the availability, it's the mix of power, and it is the minimising risk from one particular source. How well is Romania set up for that? And you've just gone through quite a bit of that there, with the exception of the pricing. It would seem to me, sitting here, in the UK and just having facts and figures about Romania in front of me, that actually it's one of the countries that is very, very well placed across that region for reliability and mix of power, if we take the pricing out of that.
Well,
Yeah,
again, it is not
yeah.
the pricing itself. Sorry, Liviu. I will give you the floor immediately. I do believe I was almost trying to counter-argue Mihai saying that we have very high prices. Then, obviously, when looking to a well-developed plan for any investment, you are looking to have a stabilized price. This sits actually in the PPA side. So confirmed, double confirmed by Mihai and myself as well. Looking on PPA, we are very competitive. In some cases, even with let's say prices in Nordics, not just Spain. Resilient wise, I would add to the energy mix that Romania has the largest oil and gas reserve in Black Sea. So basically, I believe that with this unexpected war or wars, we do have resilience in providing energy to Romania, to investments in Romania, and with all of this to help as well Europe. Again, the energy mix, if I'm not mistaken, we are now largest oil and gas producer in Europe, sits very well when attracting investments here.
Liviu, anything to add into that?
Not really. Cosmin pointed
Your
out
words.
what's the most important of it. I wanted to say that, of course, we are not Norway in terms of being 100% renewable energy producers and having the smallest cost for it. But I think we are getting to the point where we will be soon energy independent, which is a great advantage. And with all the projects I see in the pipeline in energy storage for renewables, I think we will have a big portion of this of our energy produced in this area and have a good stable grid.
Which is one of those things that, again, on that risk factor, starts minimising the risk to those investors coming in and starting to actually put this properly on the map. Demand side, we talk a lot about supply side, and this is across the board, whether it's the UK, France, or Poland or Romania. We're always at the moment talking about the supply side, which is the build of these facilities, access to energy. Sorry, the supply side. What about the demand side? Do you see going down the future, and if we look at those figures that we were talking about for a 3-year plan, a 5-year plan, and growth going down, is that demand going to come from internal to Romania, or are we looking at this coming externally with Romania placed as a hub for the entire region? Which of those do you think is probably going to play out over the next 5 years?
I would say both. If I may try to sketch a first answer, both. I mean, we do have large players in telecom like Orange or Vodafone or Deutsche Telekom that are present here in Romania, and they are growing significantly. They have their own needs of data and cloud. On the other hand, we do have customers that become more and more digitalized and more robotized. We have Mercedes-Benz here and Ford and Michelin and so many huge players that have both factories as well as data centers. We've worked for many of them. And I think there will be a strong need from such players in the future. On the other hand, I would say the significant portion of new demand will come from outside. So players like cluster power, they need huge demand for compute power that only comes, at least now, from huge LLM models and other such digital animals, so to speak.
And what movement is
Videos.
on there? Because everything I've been looking at over the last couple of days for Romania points out the fact that at the moment it is still small facilities, it's very much based on enterprise co-location, and there's the lack of that hyperscale. Do you think that's been a blocker? Is that going to change anytime soon? And is it actually a problem?
Well, it's worth to mention that all hyperscalers are already present in Romania. Google, Microsoft, Amazon, they are all here, and they are some of them also mentioning some others like Oracle, HP, Dell have very strong offices in Romania that are covering actually the region. To the potential we look and we spoke in this call, having them here, it's a easy transition to that. The European digitalization sits very well in Romania as well, with obviously the push of sovereign cloud, sovereign AI. All this states very well in market shift, in market demand. Very important, what Mihai mentioned earlier, the industrial sector of Romania with automotive on top, but not just automotive, sits in very large digitalization. If we are going to refer particularly to our segment of the industry, which again it's NVIDIA AI data centers, there is no room globally for what is the new NVIDIA plan. Romania, we sit in, let's say, the forefront of this by knowledge, maybe not by size, to be realistic, but by knowledge. For us, for Cluster Power, we've been the first running large language models for San Francisco customers, US customers. We were the first that were running inference also for our customers. The market shifts as we all use ChatGPT-like applications. If we are going to use continuously this, and if we are going to be more performant in asking a lot of questions, we will need actually a lot of prepared infrastructure, especially for this.
Liviu, any thoughts on that?
I have in mind this image of a statistic I saw last year about the level of digitalization across Europe, across the European Union, and I'm not proud of the fact that Romania was dead last in that statistic, but I think that represents a huge opportunity for us as a country, because it means we need a lot of investments from in and out. And I see a lot of movement now, and I see a lot of talking, and not only talking. Now I see some things starting to happen. And as Cosmin and Mihai pointed out before me, Romania is ready for this kind of investment. We have the right professionals, the right companies to handle, and I think this is the most important, that we are ready to handle investment from abroad.
And it's
You know that it's sorry, Nicola. A worth to mention fact is that Romania is a very friendly business environment. It is not by chance that a lot of big companies are in Romania, because actually we have a very friendly environment with this. We are hearing partners from Germany that need years for getting a permit. We are hearing from partners from UK that it's a no-go from some areas. And again, the mix we all talked about here, the friendly environment for business, we named energy, we named taxes, we named some of the facts. Of course, we cannot cover everything here. Put Romania in a very competitive position when saying we want to invest here. I'm hearing Switzerland companies that are saying, if we are going to do something in Switzerland, it would be for sure something to be refurbished, not a new project. So in mature economies, trying to do a greenfield project, it's quite difficult. Again, we have a very friendly environment, and obviously I'm Romanian. I encourage investment in data center industry.
The overriding thing with, and again, Romania and another couple of countries across the region, is that they have been being talked about by the investment community, by the operator community from outside the region, probably for the last 2 or 3 years on a serious, and in the last 12 months with a heavy focus on it. Do you think part of that is, there's obviously a lot of government support as well from within Romania in terms of getting this and getting external investment, getting that inward investment into the country, particularly for digital infrastructure growth? How much of a part do you think that plays in this renewed interest in the country?
I think it is quintessential. I think we have examples like Greece's Prime Minister Mitsotakis, whose personal leadership played a huge role in attracting the first hyperscalers in Greece. He got involved personally in such discussions and and took it as a personal and national objective. I believe this is a very good point. I think this is what's missing in Romania right now. We don't have yet coherent agenda on attracting hyperscalers and huge AI players in Romania, AI investments, like we used to have in industry, where we, as Cosmin mentioned, we attracted some of the top names in the automotive, especially industry. Once we will have this sort of leadership and maybe a strategic agency under the government to maneuver such interest in investing in Romania's AI and compute capacity, I think larger, bigger steps will be made forward. And I also want to give the example of Italy that implemented such an agency, I think 3 or 4 years ago, and they already have a map of all the potential sites, all the powers available. They do the fast permitting as well, which is really important in this domain. And this is when they started to be a top market in data centers.
I do believe that investment-wise, you need to prove that you have relevant experience or relevant use cases when attracting investors. And I do believe that big investors are quite familiar with what is happening in Romania. We have largest onshore wind farm in Europe, and this was one of the largest transaction, I believe, that now sits in the books of PPC, but that was bought from one of the largest investors globally. We have notorious Dacia Renault, so Renault came and reinvested in Dacia. Mihai mentioned Ford sits with Otosan now. We have former state banks that are now owned by large European groups, which is Erste. By the way, you have the conference where Erste sits. We have, on that part, we had the IFIs, International Financial Institutions, that are very familiar with Romania and have special funds for us. Again, it's not just to contemplate, but to be active in the game. So with all of this, the investors are not coming in a greenfield territory, but rather, on some cases, diversifying the portfolio or consolidating some of the assets they hold globally. So many points that an investor would feel here as a familiar with what is happening, not just entering in new territory.
Liviu, does that back up what you've seen from your position?
Yeah, in a way, looking at your question, I think, and being, I think both Cosmin and Mihai may agree, having this business background in Romania, getting the government involved, it's a tricky thing in Romania specifically. But of course, it could do some use, but. And efforts are underway now, also from our Chamber of Commerce, to push for legislative changes that can improve the investment prospects in key sectors such as data centers. It's a topic that I tend to stay away of a little bit, because I think what we can do more is as a Romanian business community to increase our awareness. So maybe I think I would insist more on this side.
I think that's really sensible. We're coming to the end of the interview, so what I'd like you all to do, if you don't mind, is if you had a message for any inward investment coming in or anyone that is looking at Romania, what would your message be to them? Let's start with Mihai.
I would say, Nicola, Romania is a very good place to invest right now. I think it's if I can make an analogy, it's something like the stock exchange market. If you look at some specific stocks, it seems like nothing is happening for some months, but once it's happening, the price goes up like crazy. And I think this is where Romania is right now. There's not a lot of confidence or credit right now towards Romania, but there are many small steps being made in the background, and I think we will see the results soon, because we have all these advantages that we spoke about, and I'm sure that Romania will become a relevant market in terms of AI and data centers pretty soon.
Fantastic. Cosmin?
Yeah, so on our side, we have announced recently a major investment in cluster power. We believe that we are continuously our strategic investment in our platform. We consider that this is actually an investment platform rather than be considered just a project, just a M&A transaction. We do believe that we sit in the right place and the right time. We've started this early. We are very prepared on what is happening now. And with all my heart, knowing what I know about Romanians, that they are relentless and skilled and focused to deliver, I do believe that this is a very well balanced proposal for investors.
Fantastic. And Liviu?
Yeah, I think this interview does a lot for the answer to this. If you look at these guys, if you look at Cosmin, at Mihai, you see some very good professionals. You see that Romania is ready to invest, is ready for attracting investment. And Romania seems now like a very good bet, especially if you look at how it evolved in the last 10, 15 years. So it makes sense. I always say that Romania is ready for investment.
Do you know, and from my own perspective, attending that event last year, it was just amazing, which on the kind of presentation of Mihai, it was so buzzy. It was 600 people from across, and only within Romania, looking at data centers, and anything that can have that amount of a buzz about it and be so joyful shows that this is a market that is ready for taking off. So I'm looking forward to what happens over the next 12 months and over the next couple of years. Thank you all so much for joining me. I will see all of you in Vienna at the end of April. And again, thank you so much for sharing all your thoughts and perspectives with us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nicola.